Good day everyone, my name is Sabaha M. Taha, and in this video, we will discuss the lesson 8, which is Art of Emerging Europe. So this lesson is about how art developed in Europe from ancient times up to the modern period, and how it played a big role in shaping Western culture. So art has always been an important part of European history. Hindi lang siya simpleng drawing or design. Ginagamit ang art as a way to express beliefs, values, and ideologies ng isang society. So kapag tinitingnan natin ang isang artwork from a certain period, is makikita natin kung ano ang pinaniniwalaan or the beliefs at pinapahalagahan ng mga tao sa panahong yun. So in short, art reflects the culture and mindset of people. So one of the most important foundations of Western art came from the Greeks and Europe, or also known as the classical world. Para sa kanila, beauty was not random. May standards ang kagandahan, tulad ng balance, proportions, harmony, and symmetry. Like for example, Greek sculptures show realistic human bodies with proportions, while Roman architecture focus on structure and order. So dahil sa strong influence nila, many art movements in Europe were inspired by classical art. So as time passed, different art movements emerged in Europe. Bawat time period is may sari-sariling styles, themes, and also techniques. Like for example, may panahon na religious ang main focus ng arts, especially during the Middle Ages. Then later on, during the Renaissance, mas naging human-centered ang art. Like they're more focusing on realism and human experiences. So this shows that as society changes, like politically, socially, and religiously, art also changes. So art evolves together with civilization. The lesson also aims for us to identify the major periods in Western history, compare and contrast artworks from different periods, and understand the importance of art in the development of Western culture. So hindi lang ito about memorizing the names of periods, but also understanding why those changes happened and what they mean. So to start with, ang ancient Greece ay isa sa pinaka-influential na civilization sa buong history. Sila ay nag-i-excel in a different fields tulad ng politics, literature, philosophy, drama, and even visual arts. In fact, yung concept ng democracy na ginagamit natin ngayon ay nagmula pa rin sa kanila. Ibig sabihin, even before pa, advanced na talaga mag-isip ang mga Greeks when it comes to governance and role of citizens in a society. So aside from politics, sobrang pinapahalagahan din ng mga Greeks ang art. Because for them, hindi lang basta decoration ng art. It requires skill, training, and also knowledge. Kasi ang pagiging artist noon ay hindi lang talent. Kailangan may proper understanding ka ng proportion, ng balance, at ng human form. Kaya makikita natin na ang mga Greeks ay sobrang seryoso nila when it comes sa development ng kanilang artistic abilities. Now, one of their most important values is reason or ang paggamit ng logic. Kasi naniniwala sila na ang tao ay ang center of society. And through proper thinking and education, kayang i-improve ng tao ang kanyang sariling buhay. So this belief is called humanism. So makikita natin ito sa kanilang democratic government, kung saan may importance ang participation ng citizens. So makikita rin ito sa kanilang artworks. Naniniwala sila na ang nature ay may harmony at balance. Kaya ang sculptures nila ay usually balanced din and may proportion, and also makikita natin na parang perfect ang katawan. So moving on to the development of Greek art, nahahati ito sa 4 na periods, which is the geometric, archaic, classical, and also Hellenistic. Sa geometric period, more on shapes and patterns ang artworks nila. Hindi pa masyadong detailed ang human figures. So focus sila they're more focused on lines and also design. Sunod naman ang Archaic period. So dito nagsimula na mas maging visible ang human figures sa sculptures. Mas naging realistic ng konti ang itsura ng tao as compared sa Geometric period. So this was influenced by their trade and interaction with other civilization. So next is the Classical period, which is considered the peak of Greek art. So, dito nila na perfect ang proportion and the balance ng human body. So, ang sculptures ay calm ang expression, balanced ang pose, at very ideal ang appearance. So, architecture also flourished during this time, especially temples. Everything was about harmony and perfection during this time. So, after that comes the Hellenistic period. So dito na nagbago ang style nila. Mas naging emotional, dramatic, at realistic ang artworks. Hindi na lang perfection ang focus nila, kundi pati na rin ang intense emotions and movements. One of the good example of this is the sculptures ng Laocoon and his sons. So ipinapakita dito si Laocoon na isang Trojan priest kasama ang kanyang dalawang anak habang inaatake sila ng mga ahas. So ayon sa story, dinalaan niya ang mga Trojans tungkol sa wooden horse ng Greeks dahil pakiramdam niya is may masama silang balak. So pinarusahan siya ng mga Diyos. So makikita sa sculpture na ginawa during the Hellenistic period ang pain, ang struggle nila, and also ang tension sa kanilang katawan and also sa facial expression nila. So this shows the dramatic and emotional style of the Hellenistic period. Aside from visual arts, ancient Greece is also the birthplace of theater and drama. Nagsimula ito sa religious festivals para kay Dionysus, ang god of fertility. So during these celebrations, people perform songs and dances as offerings. So habang tumatagal, naging mas organized ang performances hanggang sa maging structured plays na may actors and scripts na. And eventually, nagkakaroon na rin ng theatrical contest na pinapanood ng maraming tao. Ibig sabihin, ang art nila ay connected hindi lang sa aesthetics, kundi pati na rin sa religious and community life nila. Now, let's move on to ancient Rome. So, the Roman Republic started around 500 BCE or before Common Era. At kalaunan, naging isang powerful empire sa Western Europe. So, habang lumalawak ang Roman Empire, nakasalamuhan nila ang iba't ibang civilizations, lalo na ang Greece. So, dahil dito, malaki ang naging influence ng Greek culture sa Roman art. Maraming Roman artworks ang inspired ng Greek style. Pero habang ang Greeks ay focused sa ideal beauty, ang Romans naman ay mas realistic. Ipinapakita nila ang tunay na itsura ng tao, even the wrinkles and imperfections ng tao. And mas detailed at mas serious ang dating ng Roman sculptures. Aside from that, kilala rin ang Romans bilang master builders. Gumawa sila ng grand monuments, roads, aqueducts, at massive buildings na nagpapakita ng power at engineering skills nila. So, ang ancient Greece ang naglatag ng foundation ng maraming aspects ng modern society, especially sa democracy, philosophy, and arts. So, ang emphasis nila sa reason, balance, and human potential ay makikita sa kanilang artworks. Samantala, ang ancient Rome ay kumuha ng inspiration sa Greece pero dinagdagan nila ito ng realism at advanced architecture. Both civilizations played a major role in shaping the art and culture that still influence us today. So aside from the realistic sculpture, the Romans were also known for their architectural infrastructure. Isa sa pinaka-famous na halimbawa nito ay ang Colosseum. This massive amphitheater, which is the Colosseum, was planned and constructed during the reign of Emperor Vespasian. Ginagamit ito for public entertainment, katulad ng gladiator games and other large events. So this Colosseum was not just a place for entertainment, but it also shows the advanced engineering skills of the Romans. So makikita dito yung logical organization and cultural planning ng buong building. Ibig sabihin, hindi lang siya maganda tingnan, kundi well-designed at functional talaga. So this reflects how Romans valued practicality and strong construction of their architecture. So makikita rin sa kanilang sculptures ang pagpapahalaga nila sa kanilang gods or how they value their gods. Like for example is the artwork na Poseidon and Medusa. It shows how mythology continued to influence Roman art. Just like in Greek culture, this proves that religion and mythology were still important themes in Roman artworks. Now, it is important to understand that Greece had a huge impact on Roman culture. So, malaki talaga ang naging influence ng Greek sa Roman theater and drama. So, Roman writers like Plautus and Terence patterned their work after Greek plays, no? So, however, unlike the Greeks, the Roman audience was not as enthusiastic about theater alone. Kaya kadalasan ang mga plays or ang mga laro ay isinasama nila or isinasali nila sa mga Roman games or public events para mas maging entertaining at appealing sa mga tao. So this shows that while they adopted Greek ideas, they also adjusted them according to their preferences. So, now, moving forward to the Middle Ages. The Middle Ages is the period between the decline of the Roman Empire and the Renaissance. This era is often described as a time of ignorance and darkness, although the modern historians sometimes debate that description. During this period, the church became the central authority in society. It was not only a religious institution but also a powerful social and political force. Okay, so one of the most significant products of this period was the copied manuscripts of Christian scriptures. Since the printing press was not yet invented at that time, these texts were copied by hand. Monk carefully rewrote the scriptures, and many of these manuscripts included illustrations and decorative designs. So these illustrations were not just decorations. They highlighted the religious focus of the period. Art during the Middle Ages was mainly centered on faith, spirituality, and devotion to God. Unlike the Greeks and Romans, who focused on humanism and realism, the Middle Ages shifted the focus toward the religion and divine authority. So if we are going to compare the three periods, which is the ancient Greece, ancient Rome, and the Middle Age, we can see a clear transition. Greece emphasized reason, balance, and human potential, while Rome focused on realism, power, and engineering skills. Then during the Middle Age, the focus shifted or transferred into beliefs and the authority of the church. And that shows how art and culture are deeply connected to the beliefs and values of a specific time period.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I will be discussing about the other major periods in Western art history. Realism. Realism as a style of work focuses on the accuracy of details that depicts and somehow mirrors reality. There is little room for imagination in this movement, since emphasis is placed in observable traits that can concretize through artworks. Realism was heavily influenced by Hellenistic Greek culture, since most artworks during that period placed emphasis on the human body. So, ang realism ay isang art movement at style na nakatuon sa pagiging accurate at realistic ng mga detalye sa artwork. Ang pangunahing layunin nito ay ipakita ang reality kung ano talaga ang itsura nito sa totoong buhay. So, ibig sabihin, walang masyadong imagination or fantasy na ginagamit sa realism. Dahil ang focus nito ay nasa observable traits or kung ano ang nakikita ng mata sa real world. So, pinapakita sa realism ang tunay na anyo ng tao, bagay, lugar at pangyayari ng walang idealization or pagpapaganda. So, malaki ang influence ng Hellenistic Greek culture sa realism. Noong panahon ng Greeks, ang mga artist ay nagbibigay ng malaking emphasis sa human body. Pinag-aralan nila ang anatomy ng tao at sinigurado nilang accurate ang proportion, posture at expression. Dahil dito, naging realistic ang depiction ng tao sa kanilang artworks. Ang ganitong focus sa human body at reality ay naging inspirasyon sa realism artists noong modern period. So, realism as a modern movement in art veered away from traditional forms of art. In a way, it revolutionized themes and techniques in paintings. In addition, this movement also expanded and widened existing notions of what can be considered as art. Since artists work within the context of revolution and social change, artistic works began to depict real-life events, idealistic concepts, and image were replaced by real manifestation of society. There is a move to combine both art and life in artistic works since the modern world were suitable for subjects of art. This movement also re-examined existing belief system and tradition. Bilang modern movement, ang realism ay lumayo sa traditional form of art na kadalasan idealistic at romanticized. Dati, ang subjects ng art ay kadalasang mythological figures, religious themes, or mga taong may mataas na status tulad ng kings at nobles. Ngunit sa realism, nagkakaroon ng revolution sa themes at techniques ng paintings. Nagsimula ang artist na mag-paint ng real-life events at daily experiences ng ordinaryong tao. So, pinalitan ang idealistic images ng real manifestation ng society tulad ng kahirapan, trabaho, at social issues. Pinagsama ng realism ang art at life dahil naniniwala ang artist na ang modern world ay isang valid subject ng art. Dahil dito lumawak ang notion kung ano ang maaring maging art, hindi na lang tungkol sa perfection or beauty ang art, kundi pati na rin sa truth at reality. Sa movement na ito nire-examine din ang existing belief systems at traditions dahil pinapakita ng artworks ang tunay na kalagayan ng society. So next is Impressionism. The Impressionism movement started in France, which led to a break from the tradition in European painting. Impressionism is a style of painting that emerged in the mid to late 1800s. Impressionist artists incorporated scientific principles to achieve a more distinct representation of color. The distinctive characteristic of this style is that it allows the artist to emphasize the immediate impression he has of a particular event or the scene. The said impression is communicated by the artist through his work and can be seen through the brush strokes, distinction of colors, and the lights and the shadows used by the artist. So, ang Impressionism ay isang art movement na nagsimula sa France noong mid to late 1800s. Ito ay naging malaking pagbabago sa traditional European painting. Dahil lumayo ito sa detailed at formal style na uso noon, ang main idea ng Impressionism ay ipakita ang immediate impression or unang tingin at feeling ng artist sa isang particular na scene or event. Ang Impressionist artist ay gumamit ng scientific principles tulad sa color at light para mas maging distinct ang kanilang representation ng kulay. So, naging importante sa kanila ang pag-aaral kung paano nagre-reflect ang light sa objects at kung paano nagbabago ang kulay depende sa lighting at atmosphere. Dahil dito, ang kanilang paintings ay kadalasang bright, colorful at may visible brush strokes. So, ang distinctive characteristic ng Impressionism ay ang pag-emphasize sa momentary impression. Ibig sabihin, kung ano ang unang nakita or naramdaman ng artist sa isang moment, iyon ang kanyang ipinakita sa painting. Hindi nila kailangan gawing perfect or detailed ang bawat bahagi ng painting. Mas mahalaga sa kanila ang mood, movement at feeling ng moment. So, madalas magpaint ang impressionist artist outdoors sa labas na tinatawag na plein air painting. Ginagawa nila ito para makuha ang natural lighting at shift atmosphere. Pinipinta nila ang everyday scenes tulad ng streets, parks, caves at landscapes. Dahil dito, naging lively at realistic ang kanilang artwork sa pag-capture ng moment. Post-Impressionism. It is an art movement that emerged in France, which is a result of both the influence and rejection of Impressionism. Most artists that belongs to this movement started off as Impressionists, but later on saw the inherent limitations and flaws of Impressionism. This eventually led to the development of individual style that gave emphasis to defining from with the use of broken colors and short brush stroke. Some of the famous post-impressionism artists include Paul Cézanne, Georges Seurat, Paul Gauguin, and Vincent van Gogh. Among others, most of the works of the said painters became the framework of the contemporary techniques and trends during the 20th century. Ang Post-Impressionism ay isang art movement na nag-emerge sa France bilang result sa parehong influence at rejection ng Impressionism. Maraming artists na kabilang dito ang nagsimula bilang Impressionist, pero kalaunan napansin nila ang limitations ng Impressionism. Halimbawa, masyadong focus ang Impressionism sa light at color pero kulang sa structure, symbolism at deeper emotional meaning. Dahil dito, nag-develop ang post-impressionist artists ng sariling individual styles. Nagbigay sila ng emphasis sa form at structure gamit ang broken colors at short brush strokes. Hindi lang sila nag-focus sa visual impressionism kundi pati sa emotional at symbolic meaning ng artwork. Ang kanilang artworks ay mas impressive at mas personal. Ilan sa mga kilalang post-impressionist artists ay sina Paul Cézanne, Georges Seurat, Paul Gauguin at Vincent van Gogh. Si Cézanne ay nag-focus sa structure at geometry ng forms. Si Van Gogh naman ay gumamit ng bold colors at expressive brush strokes para ipakita ang emotion. Si Gauguin naman ay nag-explore ng symbolism at exotic themes. Si Seurat ay nag-develop ng scientific color techniques. So, ang works ng post-impressionist artists ay ang naging foundation ng contemporary techniques at trends sa 20th century. Dahil sa kanila, nagkaroon ng transition mula traditional art papunta sa modern art. Neo-Impressionism. As an art movement, Neo-Impressionism is considered as a response to empirical realism of Impressionism. Most painters who subscribe to such movement rely on a systematic and scientific techniques that have a predetermined visual effects not only on the artwork itself but also how the audience perceive the art. The leading figure in Neo-Impressionism was Georges Seurat, who recorded optical sensation on a more scientific manner. His color theories paved the way for the technique called pointillism. This art technique basically utilizes discrete dots on dashes of pure color. These elements are believed to blend with the viewer's perspective. Aside from Surat, other Impressionist artists include Hen, Edmond Cross, Maximilien Luz, and Camille Pissarro among others. So, ang Neo-Impressionism ay isang art movement na nag-emerge bilang response sa Impressionism. Kung ang Impressionism ay spontaneous at emotional, ang Neo-Impressionism naman ay mas systematic at scientific. Ang artist sa movement na ito ay gumagamit ng scientific techniques para magkaroon ng predetermined visual effects sa artwork at sa perception ng audience. So, ang leading figure ng Neo-Impressionism ay si George Seurat. Gumagamit siya ng color theory at optical science para ma-record ang visual sensations sa mas scientific na paraan. Dahil sa kanyang experiments, nabuo ang technique na tinatawag na pointillism. Ang pointillism ay isang technique kung saan gumagamit ang artist ng maliit na dots or tuldok ng pure color sa canvas. Sa halip na i-mix ang color sa palette, hinahayaan nilang mag-blend ang color sa mata ng viewer. Kapag tinitingnan mula sa malayo, naniniwala sila na mas vibrant at accurate ang color kapag ganito ang method. Bukod kay Seurat, kabilang sa Neo-Impressionism sina Henry Edmond Cross, Maximilien Luz at Camille Pissarro. So, ang movement na ito ay nagpapakita kung paano pinagsama ang art at science para makagawa ng visually effective artwork. Art Nouveau. Between 1800 and 1910, countries from Europe and the United States witnessed the emergence and flourishing of a new art style. This ornamental style of artwork was a break from the conservative historicism, which was the prevailing and dominant theme of most Western artworks. This ornamental style uses long and organic lines that are concretely manifested in architecture, jewelry, and glass designs. Among others, in most works, the defining characteristic of Art Nouveau is the asymmetrical line that usually is in the form of insect wings or flower stalks. The line is done in such a graceful and elegant manner that somehow evokes a certain power to it. So, ang Art Nouveau ay isang ornamental art style na lumaganap sa Europe at United States between 1800 and 1910. So, ito ay naging break mula sa conservative historicism na dominant theme ng Western art noon. Sa halip na traditional historical styles, nagpakilala ang Art Nouveau ng bagong decorative approach. Ang defining characteristic ng Art Nouveau ay ang paggamit ng long, flowing at organic lines na inspired sa nature. Madalas itong makikita sa designs na parang vines, flowers at insect wings at plant forms. Asymmetrical ang lines at graceful ang execution kaya nagbibigay ito ng elegant at dynamic na effect. Hindi lang sa painting makikita ang Art Nouveau, kundi pati sa architecture, jewelry, furniture, poster at glass design. So, layunin ng movement na ito na gawing bahagi ng everyday life ang art. So it means kahit sa buildings, accessories, at household items, makikita ang artistic design. Fauvism. This is a style of painting that emerged in France around the turn of the 20th century. What makes Fauvism revolutionary is that they use pure and vibrant colors by applying straight from the paint tubes directly to the canvas. This is done to produce a sense of explosion of colors in the canvas. These Fauves, just like the Impressionists, painted directly from nature. The difference lies with how the Fauves have this strong and expressive reactions to how they portray their subjects. So most Fauvist works rejects the conservative and traditional rendering of three-dimensional space. What artists did was they introduced and promoted a picture space that is defined by the movement of color. So, ang Fauvism ay isang art movement na nag-emerge sa France sa around early 20th century. Tinawag ang artist na Fauves or wild beast dahil sa kanilang bold at wild na paggamit ng kulay. So, ang pinaka-revolutionary aspect ng Fauvism ay ang paggamit ng pure at vibrant colors na diretso mula sa paint tubes papunta sa canvas. So, ginagawa nila ito para makagawa ng intense at expressive na artworks. So, tulad ng Impressionist, nagpaint din ng Fauvists mula sa nature pero mas expressive ang kanilang reaction sa subjects. Hindi nila sinunod ang realistic colors ng objects. Halimbawa, pwedeng gawin green ang face or purple ang sky, depende sa emotion na gustong ipakita. Tinanggihan din ng Fauvism ang traditional rendering ng three-dimensional space. Sa halip, gumamit sila ng picture space na defines ng interaction ng colors. Ang kulay ang naging pangunahing elements ng form at expression sa kanilang paintings. Cubism. Between 1907 and 1914, French artists Pablo Picasso and Georges Braque introduced a new visual arts style called Cubism. This style would have a huge influence on artists during the 20th century. Cubists highlighted the two-dimensional surface of the picture plane. Focusing on a flat surface was a rejection of the dominant techniques like the use of perspective, foreshortening, and modeling. In addition, one of the things that Cubism rejected was the existing and prevailing notion that art should imitate nature. Cubists emphasized that they are not in any way obliged to copy texture, form, color, and space. They represented a new depiction of reality that may appear fragmented objects for viewers. So, ang Cubism ay isang movement na pinakilala nila Pablo Picasso at Georges Braque sa France between 1907 and 1914. So, malaki ang naging influence nito sa art ng 20th century. Ang Cubism ay nag-focus sa two-dimensional surface ng painting kaysa sa realistic depth. Tinanggihan ng Cubism ang traditional techniques tulad ng perspective, foreshortening, at modeling. Para sa kanila, hindi obligasyon ng art gayahin ang nature. Sa halip, nag-present sila ng bagong depiction ng reality. Sa Cubism, ang objects ay pinapakita mula sa multiple angles at hinahati sa geometric shapes. Dahil dito mukhang fragmented or broken ang objects. Sa painting, layunin nito na ipakita ang iba't ibang view ng object sa isang canvas. Ipinapakita ng Cubism na ang reality ay maaring makita sa iba't ibang perspective. Futurism. It is an early 20th century art movement that started in Italy, which highlighted the speed, energy, dynamism, and power of machines. In addition, common themes for works in this movement are restlessness and the fast pace of modern life. Later on, the movement influence branched out not only in Europe but also in Russia. The greatest impact of Futurism is evident in poetry and visual arts. Italian poet and editor Filippo Tommaso Marinetti coined the term Futurism to reflect his purpose of disregarding the traditional methods of the art in the past. He believes that art should embrace and embody change, innovation, and creativity and originality. So, ang Futurism ay isang early 20th century art movement na nagsimula sa Italy. Ang movement na ito ay nakatuon sa speed, energy, at dynamism at power ng machines. Pinapakita nito ang excitement sa technology in the industrialization at fast-paced modern life. Common themes sa Futurism ang movement, motion, at modern city life. Makikita sa artwork ang sense of speed at action. Ang influence ng Futurism ay kumalat sa Europe at Russia na naging malakas sa visual arts at poetry. Safely po, Tommaso Marinete ang nagbigay ng term na futurism. Layunin nito na i-recheck ang traditional art methods ng past at yakapin ang innovation, change, creativity, at originality. Para sa futurists, ang art ay dapat sumasalamin sa future at modern world, hindi sa past traditions. So next is let's wrap our conclusion. So, throughout history, Europe has seen tremendous change in its political landscape and social makeup, and witnessed the transitions of different art movements on different time frames. The use of art as a medium of communication of different cultural elements originated from the Greeks and Roman civilizations. These two civilizations have greatly influenced the succeeding periods in art history. They were movements like realism that highlights the primacy of individuality, man being the focal point of work. Most work is not all new, since the Greeks and even during the Renaissance period have highlighted the centrality of man in any society. The evolution of art in Europe helped them shape their culture, which was reflected in their societies. Sa kabuuan, ang iba't ibang art movement sa Europe ay nagpapakita ng evolutions ng art kasabay ng pagbabago ng society at history. Mula sa Greek at Roman civilizations, nagsimula ang paggamit ng art bilang medium ng communication ng culture at beliefs. So, malaki ang influence ng mga naunang civilization sa mga sumunod na art movements. Habang nagbabago ang political at social landscape ng Europe, nagbabago rin ang art styles. May mga movements tulad ng realism na nag-focus sa individuality at real-life experiences. Mayroon ding movements na nag-explore ng emotions, technology, at modern life. Sa huli, makikita natin na ang art ay salamin ng reality at ng society. Kung ano ang nangyari sa lipunan, iyon din ang makikita sa artworks. Dahil sa evolution ng art sa Europe, mas naiintindihan natin kung paano nahubog ang kanilang culture at identity sa art sa pamamagitan ng art. Yun lang po, thank you.
Good day everyone, my name is Amira Jana and Ibrahim and my topic is all about Renaissance art. So ano nga ba ang Renaissance? Ang Renaissance ay nangangahulugang rebirth o muling pagsilang. Ito ay nagsimula noong 14 hanggang 17th century sa Europe. Sa panahong ito, muling nabuhay ang interes ng mga tao sa sining, kultura at kaalaman ng ancient Greece at Rome. So sabi dito, during the Renaissance period, artists valued individual as a subject of art. This influence of humanism shifted to focus of some artworks during the Renaissance period to empower the individual. So sa Renaissance period, naging mahalaga ang humanism. Ang humanism ay paniniwala na mahalaga ang tao, ang kanyang kakayahan, talino at potensyal. Dahil dito, ang focus ng mga artists ay ang individual o ang tao mismo. Mas binigyan nila ng pansin ang natural na itsura at tamang proporsyon ng katawan ng tao. So gumamit ang mga Renaissance artists ng perspective para magmukhang may lalim o 3D ang kanilang paintings. Mas naging realistic ang kanilang artworks kumpara sa Middle Ages. Kahit maraming pa ring religious themes, nagsimula na rin silang gumawa ng non-religious subject tulad ng mythology at mga eksena sa pang-araw-araw na buhay. So let's proceed to the figure number 10, which is the sculpture of David made by Michelangelo. This sculpture is an example of how humanism was a dominant belief system during the Renaissance. There is emphasis on these details on the body of the human being. Ang David sculpture ay isang magandang halimbawa ng humanism sa Renaissance. Makikita ang detalyadong muscles, veins, at tamang proportion ng katawan. Ipinapakita nito ang paghanga ng mga artist sa kagandahan at lakas ng tao. Hindi lang ito religious symbol, kundi simbolo rin ng confidence at kakayahan ng isang taong harapin ang hamon. So during the Renaissance period, there was also a revival of Roman theatrical plays. These plays were performed during the occasion at the courts of Italian prince. So sa Renaissance period, nagkaroon ng revival Roman theatrical plays. So ang mga ito ay pinapalabas sa courts ng mga Italian prince tuwing may special na okasyon. Grand at bongga ang performance dahil may kasamang sayaw, kanta at magagandang costume at pinaghandaan din ang stage designs. Eventually, this would lead to Italy's opera, which have greatly influenced their tradition of popular theater. So, dahil sa mga theatrical performance na ito, nabuo ang opera sa Italy. Ang opera ay pinagsamang acting at singing sa isang pagtatanghal. Hanggang ngayon, malaking bahagi pa rin ito sa kultura ng Italy at maging impluensya ng modern theater. So, let's proceed to the Mannerism. Mannerism was a period in art history, which was a product of Renaissance period. During the Renaissance, artists would also observe nature and try their best to emulate it based on their observation. So, as the Renaissance ended, artists started directly copying subject from existing works of art. Most artworks during this period displayed distorted figures, three-dimensional spaces, discordant hues and colors, and lack of defined focal point. So habang papatapos ang Renaissance, nagbago ang style. So instead na gayahin ang nature, ginaya at in-exaggerate nila ang mga existing artworks. So dito nagsimula ang Mannerism. So ano nga ba yung mga characteristic ng Mannerism? So ito, example is like yung mahaba at distorted na katawan, twisted or unnatural poses, crowded composition, matingkad or weird yung mga colors, tapos parang flat or two-dimensional ang spaces, and then walang malinaw na focal point. So let's proceed to the Baroque and Rococo. So the term Baroque is derived from the Portuguese term Barroco, which is translated as the irregularly shaped pearl. This is suitable description that Rome was the birthplace of the Baroque period, which according to some historians was a response to Protestantism. So, sinasabi ng historians na response ito sa Protestant Reformation. Ginamit ang Catholic Church ang art para ma-inspire at ma-touch emotionally ang mga tao. So, this period roughly spanned from 16,000 to 1750. Although it was a period following the Renaissance, so it can be said that a lot of artists have developed styles and techniques different from the Renaissance predecessors. So most artists use colorful palettes or ornamentation in their works. So this was a time when Italy in a particular strengthening not only the religion but also the other aspect like yung politics and art. So expansion was the central theme of this period, which became very much evident in the artwork produced during this time. Motion and space were taken into consideration by artists like use of dramatic lighting and the concept of time. So, sinasabi na hindi lang art ang naging famous during the Baroque period, pati na rin ang music. So, naniniwala sila na ang music ay isang powerful tool para mag-express ng emotion. So, dito naging clear and difference ang loud and soft sound, and then yung solo at ensemble performances. Eventually, the influence of Baroque music spread outside Italy and reached to the other parts of Europe. Other well-known Baroque composers include Germany's Bach and Handel, since Baroque composers, through their works, tried to evoke certain emotions from their audience. They began make more complex musical composition and performances. However, it can be noted that initially, this kind of music was limited only to powerful institutions like the church and individuals like the patrons. So noong una, ang Baroque music ay para lang sa church at mga mayayamang patrons. Pero kalaunan, naging accessible na rin ito sa middle class at sa general public. After the Baroque, sumunod ang Rococo noong early 17,000 sa France. Kung ang Baroque ay dramatic at religious, ang Rococo naman ay mas light, playful at romantic. So one of the most famous painting about this topic is the Assumption of the Virgin. Makikita dito sa figure 11. So this is a painting by Titian located at Venice, Italy. So the biblical event in the painting shows that how the Baroque period reverted having religious subject in this work or in their work. Ano nga ba ang Assumption of the Virgin? Ang Assumption of the Virgin ay isang Catholic belief na si Virgin Mary, the Mother of Jesus, ay dinala sa langit, body and soul pagkatapos ng kanyang earthly life. Ibig sabihin, hindi siya dumaan sa normal na pagkabulok ng katawan, instead, inangat siya ng Diyos papuntang heaven. Pero, hindi ito directly nakasulat sa Bible. Ito lang ay part sa Catholic Church tradition. So, noong 1950, officially itong dineclare bilang dogma ng Catholic Church ni Pope Pius. So, bakit nga ba importante ito? So, the Assumption symbolizes victory over death, hope of eternal life, and honor and purity of Mary. Sa Catholic tradition, na-celebrate ito every August 15 bilang Feast of Assumption. So, summary ng topic na ito is the Assumption of the Virgin is the belief that Mary was taken up into heaven, body and soul, although not written directly in Bible. It became an important Catholic doctrine. Artists like Titian painted this event to show glory, movement, and strong emotion, especially during the Renaissance and Baroque period. Next is the Neoclassicism. There seems to be a debate among historians as the beginning of modern art. There are accounts that would attribute for the emergence of this kind of art during the French Revolution in 1789. However, other historians claim that it was the year 1863 when there was an emergence of modern painting exhibitions. So, ang main idea ng Neoclassicism ay ang pagbabalik sa estilo at prinsipyo ng sinaunang Greek at Roman art. Gusto nilang ibalik ang focus sa reason, order at disiplina, sa sining at architecture. So, malaki ang connection nito sa Enlightenment period kung saan pinapahalagahan ang logic at pag-iisip kaysa sa emotion. So, isa pa sa sinasabi rin na ang Neoclassicism ay naging reaction laban sa Baroque period. Kasi, ang Baroque period ay kilala sa pagiging magarbo at sobrang detalyado. Kaya ang Neoclassicism ay umiiwas sa sobrang dekorasyon at naging mas simple, balance at organized ang style. So, sa madaling salita, ang Neoclassicism ay isang movement na bumalik sa classical ideas ng Greece at Rome. Pinahalagahan ang reason at order at naging sagot sa sobrang engrading estilo ng Baroque. Next is Romanticism. Romanticism is an art movement used to central themes of neoclassicist artworks as the springboard. Romanticists have highlighted heroic elements into their work. So during the Age of Revolution, there has been a tremendous focus on patriotic and nationalistic movements. So, ito ay isang art movement na lumilitaw bilang tugon sa Neoclassicism, kung saan dati ang artworks ay nakatuon sa balance, logic at perfection. Dito sa Romanticism, pinapakita ng mga artist ang heroism, emotion at passions ng tao. So, sa panahon ng Age of Revolution, maraming artwork ang nagbigay pansin sa mga revolution at nationalistic movements tulad ng French Revolution bilang simbolo ng paglaban sa kalayaan at karapatan. Sa figure number 13 na ito, makikita ang painting na The Wrath of Medusa by Theodore Géricault. Makikita ang isang dramatikong pangyayari sa kasaysayan, ang barkong Medusa na lumubog at ang mga survivors sa gitna ng dagat. Ang painting ay hindi lang simpleng depiction ng pangyayari, ipinapakita nito ang kahinaan at lakas ng tao, desperasyon at pag-asa. Sa kabuuan, ito ay nagpapakita ng romantic emphasis sa human emotion at struggle na lumalayo sa purely rational or idealized art. Next is Realism. Realism as a style of work focuses on the accuracy of details that depicts and somehow mirrors reality. There is a little room for imagination in this movement since emphasis is placed in observable traits that can concretize through artwork. So realism was heavily influenced by Hellenistic Greek cultures since most artworks during that period placed emphasis on the human body. Ang realism ay kabaliktaran ng romanticism. Sa paraan ng paglapit sa subject, dito mas focus ang mga artist sa accuracy at detalyadong representation ng realidad. Hindi idealized or dramatized and wala masyadong room para sa imagination. So ang goal ay maipakita kung ano ang totoong nangyayari sa lipunan at buhay ng tao. Dahil sa influence ng Hellenistic Greek art, binibigyan ng pansin pa rin ang mga katawan ng tao para mas natural at hindi perfect. So sa figure number 14, makikita dito ang painting na Boy Ormans na gawa ni Gustave Courbet. Ipinapakita ang simpleng buhay ng tao marahil isang bata sa rural na setting. Ang focus ay realistic portrayal na figure, light at environment na nagpapakita ng pang-araw-araw na buhay. Ipinapakita ng painting ang idea na art should reflect real life at hindi lang mga idealized na imahe or mythological themes. Lastly, we have Impressionism. So the Impressionism movement started in France, which led to a break from tradition in European painting. Impressionism is a style of painting that emerged in mid to late 1800s. So Impressionist artists incorporated scientific principle to achieve a more distinct representation of color. So ang Impressionism daw ay lumitaw sa France noong mid to late 1800s bilang isang break sa tradisyon ng European painting. Ang movement na ito ay kilala sa paggamit ng scientific principle or color at light para maipakita ang immediate impression ng artist sa isang scene o event. Sa halip na detalyadong realism, pinapakita ng Impressionism ang feelings at atmosphere sa pamamagitan ng brushstrokes, kulay at shadows. So, sa pangkalahatan, ang artworks ng Impressionist artists ay nagpapakita ng captured moments ng buhay ng tao tulad ng isang street scene, park, or cafe. Ang mahalaga ay hindi ang perfect representation, kundi ang experience or impression ng artist sa scene. So, yun lamang po. Maraming salamat and sana po may naintindihan kayo sa report ko. And sana may natutunan kayo. Thank you.